All right, y'all. Ain't no half step on Marcus J is live. We in the building, ready to get into a fabulous show. It's the final show of the year. 2015 is coming to a close, and we got some fun tonight. Hopefully, hope to have a full house, even though it's not a full house just yet. But it is what it is. We're gonna do this show here tonight, and we're gonna do it with you, for you. We're gonna rock with you, and you're gonna roll with us. Ain't no half step on Marcus J is live right now.
It's about that time. It's about that time to get.
Button your lip, open your ears, strap on your thinking cap. Socially conscious talk that's entertaining with a dash of humor and the top sports stories of the week. It's time for Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J.
Zellers has Jordan. Jordan with 2 seconds to go. Puts it up and scores at the buzzer. Michael Jordan has won it for Chicago. Manning lobs it. Burris alone. Touchdown, New York.
Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. He hits one deep to right center. That ball is out of here. The Yankees win the pennant.
If they lying, then they must be half stepping. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J is live. We in the den. Be down with us tonight at 804-402-2893 to be part of the flagship show. Heard live from the den, Legacy Internet Radio, every single Monday night. Right here from 7 p.m. Eastern until we finish. We appreciate everybody that's listening to us tonight. Everybody that's listening to us on TuneIn, as well as those folks that are listening to us on Streamer. We appreciate those folks that are listening to the replays right now on iTunes as well as on YouTube. It's because y'all rock with us every single week. That's why we roll with y'all. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. We see the lights on already right here in the Richmond, Virginia area. We appreciate y'all in Jersey City, New Jersey, as well as in Atlanta, GA. We see some folks in LA already checking in with us, so we appreciate the love that we get. Legacy Internet Radio. You're listening to Ain't No Half Steppin' with yours truly. It's the final show of the year, and so of course we are feeling somewhat retrospective here at Legacy Internet Radio tonight. We got a lot to get into tonight. I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going to bring in, we've got one of our guests is in the building now. We're waiting for some more to show up here in the den tonight. We haven't seen our sister in the studio in quite a while. We look forward to fellowshipping with our sister Blessed in the studio tonight. What's up, girl?
Not a thing. Let's see if I can bring some comedic relief to this show tonight.
You gonna bring some comedy?
So I'm gonna try to.
How
You know, I'm not good as comedian that's in Jay Grizzy, but I'll try my best.
Yeah. You talking about Jay Grizzy, one of our founders, and Lissa P, our first lady. We appreciate you being here. It's good to see you. We're looking forward to having our brother Jay, who is en route, as well as our sister SY, our co-host SY is en route as well. So while we wait for them, you and I are going to jump in here and kind of kick it. How was your holiday? How's it been so far?
The holiday was okay. I stayed in bed till probably about 3 o'clock on Christmas Day, and I finally made it to my mom's house. My nephew was sitting there with a frown on his face. And he's so smart. I'm like, what's wrong with you? Well, I didn't get a board game. And what did I give him as he was saying, I didn't get a board game this Christmas?
How old is he?
He's 7.
7 years old?
Yeah.
He's looking for a board game?
He's looking for a board game. We've given him, well, I gave him Clue this year. So he's going to learn about Clue this year. But he's been playing Monopoly. He's been playing all these other board games. And he was very upset he didn't get a board game this year. So
We talking about like old school board games like we played when we were young.
yeah, that's what he wanted.
Wow.
Life and all of those other ones. Yeah.
Monopoly. You gonna get him on what's the one with the dice and it's like a man, I can't think of the name of that one. I had to look it up. But like Parcheesi.
We haven't gotten that far yet.
Yeah.
But I'm sure he's gonna be wanting those pretty soon.
Yeah. There's one, I can't think of the name of it, but it had dice and it had like little pieces that you moved up and down in a kind of a zigzag type of formation. And I got the board at the crib. I wish that I had it here, and I didn't know that we were going to talk about board games. But if I had it, we could definitely talk about it. So you didn't get up till like 3 o'clock?
Yeah, this year's been kind of down for me. So, Christmas, I had somebody pass on Christmas and buried her on New Year's. So, it hasn't been good for me for a good 10 or 11 years. So I tried to get out and do something and be productive, but it's kind of hard. Yeah. And this year's been warm. Yeah. Like the end of days type warm. Yeah. Yeah. And, it's just, it hasn't felt like holiday spirity.
You're not one of those people that's feeding into that end of the day stuff.
I'm not, but it's just the way this world is going. It's just
because the reason why I asked you, because I had a conversation with a brother recently. We were talking about the weather, and I'm not one of those people that gets caught up in the weather changing. Oh my God, the end of the world is coming. Because when you watch the news, they say that we're going to have a record high. If we're going to have a record high, it must mean it was hot as hell on Christmas some other time before. So,
True.
You know what I mean? So
True.
You can't really trip off of this year being any different than any other year. Although it was odd to, grab the newspaper in flip-flops and a pair of shorts.
It was.
As opposed to kicking around snow this year. But I don't even really trip because our friends and family in Florida, they used to this.
True. But for us, it's not. I mean, I was grilling yesterday. Like, I'm not used to this weather. So I took the opportunity to jerk some chicken, and that's what I had last night.
Yeah, so. What's funny about that? My sister Sue, shout out to Sue if she's listening right now. We would be notorious for grilling in the wintertime. Like,
really?
If it's cold and it's, like, shivering and, like, you're a crazy person for being outside, that's like when we would go outside and grill. We talking about like late December, January, February outside grilling.
More power to y'all.
Yeah, man. yeah. It was, it was just kind of a fun thing that we used to do. People used to watch us and be like, "Yeah, y'all are out of y'all minds." So I'm just glad that the holiday season came and everybody got out of it. At least that's close to me, with minimal drama. And, we didn't have any tragedies or anything like that.
That's
so
good.
I just want to be happy about that. Everybody has the things that they go through, and there's no way that you can kind of get around that.
Yeah.
But as far as, making a big deal out of it, I'm not interested in doing that. You know what I mean? Now, let me ask you a question.
What's that?
Question came up before I actually do that. Let me introduce my brother who just walked in. Who helps to co-host our show here on Ain't No Half Steppin with Marcus J. Miss Blessed. It's your first time meeting our brother Jay is up in this joint. What's up, brother?
Doing good, man. How you feeling?
I'm good, man. I appreciate seeing you. I ain't gonna pick on you for being a tad tardy. You got a note.
Yeah.
You got a note. Blessed and I were just kind of kicking it about the holiday season, kind of just being I guess in the middle, almost over now. But I've got a question for you guys that a lot of people have been kind of asking me. I'm kind of notorious for not being, a holiday person, at least not this time of year. Kind of a Grinch, Scroogey Grinch type of cat. That's kind of how I roll. But a lot of people have been saying Merry Christmas to me. And, when I was younger, I didn't trip. But now it's like, I don't rock with the holidays. So why are you saying that to me? You know what I mean? But then you have the folks who will say happy holidays because they don't want to offend anybody.
True.
And so there's kind of two schools of thought with it. It's the people who know that it's probably better to say happy holidays. I saw a meme that went out, I actually forwarded the meme that said that from November 1st through the end of December, there's like 25 or 20 or 30 holidays recognized by 7 major religions. And so happy holidays is probably more appropriate because you don't know what you're getting into with people. And so, Jay, I'll ask you first. I mean, how do you feel about Merry Christmas versus happy holidays? Let's just ask a simple question that way.
Well, first of all, I grew up not, believing in Santa Claus and the whole Christmas hype thing. So, my mom still in us that, she's not giving credit, to no white guy in a red suit, so I say happy holidays, because I do feel that, like the mimic said, it's a whole bunch of different holidays in between there. So and I also believe Christmas is a pagan holiday. So I think people forget the meaning if you choose to believe that Jesus was born that day. So it all depends on a person's belief as well.
What do you think, Bless?
Well, being that I work at a place where I have to be politically correct now, we have to say Happy Holidays. We can't say Merry Christmas. We can't say Noel. Oh, well, what was it? Yeah, Noel. We had a sign that turned it into Leon instead of Noel, but we're still celebrating the holidays, but we can't celebrate those things that make it Christmassy.
Right.
I guess you could say. So I really don't say anything unless somebody says something to me first, and then I'll just reciprocate what they just told me. So
right. No, I can dig it. I mean, it's very curious, when I think about the meme that I put up, and I'll kind of read, to you guys and kind of get some comments in from social media. The meme basically says, "Why do I wish people happy holidays? Because from 1 November through 15 January." There are approximately 29 holidays observed by 7 of the world's major religions, and I don't think mine are the only ones that count.
Sure.
And so, I've been one of those people that's been pretty critical of people who like the crap that I put out, but ignore the important stuff. And people like what they want, but if I'm talking some real stuff, like acknowledge the real stuff, and like if I'm want to talk about Kim Kardashian, like you don't have to act like that's more important than some of the other stuff. But I'm gonna digress on that. But Tiffany agrees, Madrika agrees, JR, who joined us here on Ain't No Half Steppin' Marcus J, live in the den many times in the past. He said that he doesn't say Happy Holidays, not because he's scared. They have some sort of war on Christmas, but for some reason he just tells, he doesn't just run up and tell people, Happy Yom Kippur or anything like that. Someone says Happy Holidays, he'll say it back. But in general, he'll say Merry Christmas. So I asked him, what if the person doesn't celebrate Christmas? You still say it to him? That was my question to him. And he responded that he doesn't give it a second thought. He'll just say Merry Christmas. If they don't say it, then they just don't say it. Now, if a dude is wearing a yarmulke, you can clearly see the dude's a Muslim or a Hindu, whatever. I don't say anything really. It's as simple as have a good day. Usually I don't go out of my way to address what the person celebrates. I respect that position, but that to me is a singular-minded position that kind of thinks, that their way is kind of the right way, and that's fine,
right?
Because culturally, that's how we roll here in the country. What do you think, Jay?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it all depends on what a person's individual beliefs are. I mean, if you know a person a Muslim, you're not really gonna go out your way to really disrespect them,
right?
You know what I'm saying? But I mean, I don't see nothing wrong with saying Happy Holidays. I mean,
you get people that really get fired up about Happy Holidays. Like when you say Happy Holidays, they get fired up. It's like, why won't you say Merry Christmas?
Yeah, it is true, because I send out Happy Holiday texts. You got one, and I got back. Oh, we celebrate Christmas around here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
we go through this every year. But you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying Merry Christmas to you. It's Happy Holidays.
I saw a picture on Facebook of an Asian looking family. They had Christmas tree up and everything. And we can have in our mind what we think people should be.
Right.
If you want to stereotype an Asian family, you would think they probably got some kind of Buddhism going on. It's like, what y'all got a tree up for?
Right.
You know what I mean? And one of the sisters who responded to the meme that I have here, her comment is lengthy. I'll try to pare it down a little bit, but it's relevant to what we're talking about, so I'm going to get most of this in. But she's a Muslim. Her name is Malika, and she says she never really felt offended by Merry Christmas. It's an American culture thing. Most people celebrate Christmas or something around that time, although Muslims don't have a fixed holiday. Usually people say it to her, and she's different. Her first instinct is to indiscriminately spread cheer. I can dig that. And maybe they don't put a lot of thought into whether her beliefs are different in that moment. But she does have an issue with people not putting thought into whether her beliefs are different, and then also wanting to engage her children in the conversation about the participation in the holiday, about Santa's coming, when the gifts are coming, etc. And she says a little bit more, but that's kind of the gist of it. And I think that's important, Bless. That's the reason why I kind of bring it up, because I never really, like your family. Now, I was raised to believe in Santa Claus,
Right.
but I didn't raise my child that way,
Right.
because the last thing I want to do. See, I'm real big on images, and I got a lot of white brothers and sisters. Like one in particular who used to listen to the show. She had checked in a while. I guess I pissed her off. She don't listen no more.
Stop.
That's fine. I don't know. I almost said something. I don't really care, because we got to say what we're going to say. But,
Right.
we got into it about whether Jesus was white or black.
Really?
We got into that, and if images didn't matter, then you wouldn't have images.
Right.
You know what I mean? If the Bible says, and I'm not one that completely follows the Bible one way or the other, I respect what it is. We talked about that when we had the Israelites on a couple of weeks ago. If the Bible says that he had, hair like wool, and his eyes red as fire, and bronze skin, that sounds like a brother to me. He looked more like Saddam Hussein than he looked like Caesar Borgia.
Exactly.
And the same with Santa Claus, and if you really, really look into Santa Claus, they said the Saint Nick was actually a black dude who was helping out the homeless kids in Germany, I believe it was, and he was actually given sainthood because of the work he was doing. So Santa Claus was black too, y'all.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so if images didn't matter, then we wouldn't bastardize the images. I mean, what y'all think?
I agree. That goes back to I can't remember the lady name, but she was like the model for Betty Boop, the black lady. So I mean,
I can't think of her name, but Betty Boop was a sister.
Exactly.
Exactly,
same thing.
yeah. I mean, like I said, if images didn't matter, then you wouldn't change them. And
exactly.
I think that in the climate of the world that we're in today, when you can be a 14-year-old boy with a toy gun and end up getting shot and killed because you got a toy gun, and there'll be no charges, no indictment or anything come down, and you have a white woman who's elderly who pretty much does the same thing. You've got Elaine, what is her name? Elaine Rothenberg. She was waving a fake gun, and I'm getting this one from our NBC affiliate in Miami, NBCMiami.com, actually. She's pointing a fake gun at the police, and they didn't know it was a fake gun. It was a BB gun. And
they probably did everything to try to calm her down.
Well, she was arrested. She wasn't shot. She was arrested, and she's alive. She's alive. And so I think that how I kind of correlate those two things into the images is we teach our children to pray to a white God. We teach our children to pray to a white Jesus. We teach our children to pray to a white Santa Claus. And when you have someone white say to you that images don't matter, they don't matter to you because those deities look like you.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
They matter to me because what ends up happening is it teaches my child that black is not right, even though I'm daddy and I can tell her and teach her and do all of these things. Ultimately, the person who is really in charge is the white Jesus, because Jesus is white. And what does that tell you when you go outside your house and you see white people versus black people?
Right.
If Jesus looks like this guy, then this guy must be special.
Right.
If Santa Claus looks like this guy, then this guy must be special. Why doesn't Santa Claus look like me? And I'll ask one last question before I turn it back over to you guys. Do you think that white people would take their child, and just in mass, I'm sure there's a few, liberal white folks, I ain't talking about them. I'm just talking about en masse. What's the right way? I don't know.
I understand.
Yeah. Do you think they would take their child to sit on the lap just generally of a black Santa Claus.
No
Of
way.
course not.
Absolutely not.
Now, why would you say that so abruptly, so quickly?
There are black Santa Clauses that dress up, and how many of them get that line of little white kids that come to see them? Usually it's the black parents and the black kids that take their children to see the black Santa
Yeah, I
Claus.
think it's mostly common in a urban neighborhood that you'll see a black Santa Claus. I never seen a black Santa Claus at the mall.
I never seen one either. Even
Oh,
even
except
the
for
mall.
Azalea Mall.
Azalea
maybe.
Mall.
But that's the hood though.
or Cloverleaf. Or Cloverleaf. And for my Jersey City family, Hudson Mall or Newport. And I have Steppin with Marcus. I get accused sometimes of being a race baiter when I bring these things up. But at the end of the day, it's like,
It's true. I mean, it goes to a lot of us ignoring the facts. None of us really want to do research or look up the truth behind the things that we might see on Facebook or whatnot. We just go with what we see.
Yeah.
And going by what we see means that everything white is right. And we're just going to keep saying that because that's what we've been taught all these years without researching it, without knowing where we come from and what's actually said in the Bible. The Bible, like you said, the Bible does not say that Jesus was a white man.
I don't know where it says in the Bible that we celebrate Christmas.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. I
doesn't.
guess the representation of the three wise men bringing the gifts is supposed to be Christmas, but I mean.
But you know what the three wise men were? You know what the three wise men were? That's Orion's belt. And you know what the North Star was? That's Sirius.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know what the sun is? Like the Son of God? It's the sun. You know what I'm saying? It's like when we take these stories and we paganize them. I ain't trying to. Hey, look, I ain't trying to blow your Christmas high. That ain't what I'm doing. I feel like I'm treading real lightly
No.
now.
I mean, teach. If you know, then teach.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to completely destroy it because I mean, I get the whole family thing, just like I get the whole family thing behind Thanksgiving. But to me, Thanksgiving ain't nothing but a glorified Columbus Day.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's kind of what it is. If you use those days to celebrate your family and celebrate the people that you rock with, then that's cool. But where you lose me is you get so caught up in these images. For me, I guess if we're going to take anything out of the segment, it's images. Right. I'm getting a hit from my brother Said. What up, bruh? Said is listening to us right now. Said that it never stated how many wise men there were. It just said 3 gifts.
Right.
So I can dig that, and that's kind of speaking to how we take what we want to take and we
Right.
create what we want to create.
And that goes to, when you hear people say, "Oh, you talking in your white voice." What is talking in your white voice? I
Boy,
never
don't
understood
even get
that.
started on that.
Oh man, I never
I can
understood
talk in
that.
my white voice
You
when I
know-
go to work. Oh, and it gets a little higher too, so you
So
gotta
that
talk
mean,
like this.
so that mean, black people, we can't talk proper English.
But you know what that makes me
that
mad?
just it's just
It makes
crazy.
me mad. When I first came out of college, the first job I had, I was working in a call center, and worked in a call center for a very long time. Actually, the job that I have now is the only job that I've had, and it was not in a call center. But anyway, I used to have people who would think that I was white, and I found that I was assimilating. Like I was actually changing how I spoke.
Right.
And I wasn't doing it consciously. And that's kind of like we wear the mask that grins and lies, that hides the cheeks, and someone fill out that last line.
I
Who's?
can't remember the rest.
But we,
I know.
yeah,
Yeah.
y'all know the poem. And like we do that, like black folk,
Yeah.
we do that. And I remember there was a dude. I remember the day I stopped doing it because it was a dude who called up, and I was talking to him, and I was working in collections, and the dude was like, "I'm so glad I got you, and I didn't get that black guy because he was an N-word," or and he kind of went in, and so of course my blood pressure went up. I wasn't quite as sensitive to the N-word then as I am now. I used it pretty frequently, as many young black men do and did back then. And so I wasn't quite as offended as I probably would be now, even though I knew a white dude saying it's never cool.
Mm-hmm.
And so I let him go because in collections, you make money off commission. So I ain't want to mess my money up. But I allowed him to say what he needed to say. And then at the end of the conversation, I told him, I said, I'm one of them black dudes. Oh, well, I didn't mean you, because you good, and that was kind of the way the conversation went. But at that point, I stopped kind of
Right.
changing how I talk. I don't know if you listen to me now and you just know. I would guess that when you listen to me speak now, you kind of just know. I mean, I don't know. Do I sound like a black dude? Do I sound like a white dude? Do I sound like...
It's kind of, I can't say because I know who you are, so I can't really...
Right.
Yeah.
But that's even how we greet, though. You know, like, I've been in retail majority of my life.
Right.
Like, I see a brother, I'm like, what's up? It's a white dude, how you doing? You know what I'm saying?
True.
It's just crazy.
You know what's funny about that? Do you remember watching Key and Peele? Even if you don't watch the show, you know who Key and Peele is. And they do this skit with the president of the United States, Barack Hussein Obama.
He has a translator.
The translator, yeah. But there's a scene when, before you even get to the translator, when he walks into a room and he sees white folk and he's like, hey, how you doing?
Right.
How are you? And then he gets to the brother. He was like, yo, what's up, man? And he gives him a pound and a bro hug and stuff like that.
Right.
And it was funny, but it was satirical in the sense that, like, we forced to kind of do that.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it goes back to images because, you know, the Black Eagle Joe Madison always says that we are culturally conditioned to believe that white is right.
Right.
And the manifestation of that is that we are undervalued, underestimated, and marginalized.
Right.
Mostly by them, but in part by us.
Right.
And it goes back again to the key word in this segment, which is images. I go back to white Jesus. Why we got a white Jesus when the Bible, your book, says basically he was a brother? And the truth of the matter is, I don't know too many white folk that came out of that region, even to this day.
Like
Right.
Persian area. Yeah, there's no white people.
Yeah, even now.
I want to give a shout out to Rosa. She's checking in for the first time. She's in Elizabeth, New Jersey.
What's up, Rosa?
And she said, and what he's saying is true.
Oh.
And that's not even, she's Native American, so
My sister Rosa. Rosa, thank you so much for checking in. I'm from Jersey City, so I know where you are. I know Elizabeth Ave. I spent a lot of time in your town, and so I appreciate you checking in and listening to us here tonight. Shout out to you. Shout out to my brother Hakeem. Hakeem's listening to it. He is asking the question. He's saying assimilated or wearing different hats. You don't conduct yourself or conduct yourself at work the same way you would with your boys at a game. Certain behaviors for certain environments. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's a very fair position.
I got to pull a Steve Harvey right quick.
Uh-oh.
I was corrected.
Okay.
She's Cuban and Puerto Rican.
Oh, okay. Oh, Lord.
Oh, Lord.
Glad you didn't give out a crown with that thing.
Hey, by the way, happy Friday. Friday, yeah. You know what I mean? And the Cowboys just won the NFC East. Yeah, how about that, Rosa? We apologize for that, that mistake there. That's Hakeem's comment, though. What you guys say to that? I mean, he's saying that it's not so much assimilation, other than just, you know, kind of knowing your surroundings and knowing where you at.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk about somebody that I love very much, and if she ever listens to the show, then she'll probably know who I'm talking about. I went to a retirement party and I heard this person talking like this, but Rosa, and that's not how she talks when she's at home. You know, it's kind of the same. If you would talk to other members of the family, they would say that she's bougie all the time. So, you know, this is an example, I guess, of somebody who's taken it a little too far. They're not in touch, maybe, with their history, their blackness.
Right.
Well, this is the same person that wanted to have pretty babies, and pretty babies meant light skin.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, you know, a lot of us get caught up in that. You know, a lot of us get
and
caught
it's
up.
a shame.
A lot of us get caught up in a lot of images. You know, body image. We expect our bodies to look the same as, you know, our white brothers and sisters.
Right.
And our hair, you know, if our hair is of a certain type of texture, you know, it's better or worse. You know what I mean? We all know the phrase good hair.
Yeah, and it even goes down to the dark skin, light skin. You know, it's crazy. Like, they just separate us. But, you know, white people look at us all the same. We don't want to see dark skin and light skin.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah, well, I will tend to disagree a little bit because, you know, when we look at historically, like going back to slavery, and even, you know, when people pass, you know, the phrase pass,
There are some
you know,
that made
the
it.
lighter you are, the more likely you are to do better. And the darker
Right.
you are, you know, the darkies were the ones that was in the field. That's where the phrase field Negro came from. Shout out to my brother Larry. Larry's listening tonight here in the RVA area. We appreciate Larry for checking us out tonight. But ain't no has Steppin with Marcus J live from the Den, Legacy Internet Radio. We getting a call. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from? What you want to get in on?
Hey, what's up, Mark? This is Larry. Oh, I'm sorry. I said what's up.
What's up, brother?
Good evening. How
I
you
just
doing?
good, brother. Yeah, you listen. You definitely listened to the show. I just shouted you out from your note that you just sent me. So the floor is yours, brother. What you want to get in on?
You know, it's funny. I was listening to the commentary about the how we are perceived so far as our skin color is concerned. And unfortunately, you know what? I'll rephrase that. Fortunately for me, I'm from the rather dark persuasion. And on many occasions, just because of my skin tone, I have people who will look at me and like, okay, I know this brother's nothing but trouble. I know something wrong with him. As a matter of fact, not too long ago, I was on the elevator. And I had a black coat on, my sunglasses on, and that really, you know, I have, you know how you're in your kind of own zone and you're thinking about some things. So my face had a pretty normal look on it. There were two elderly white ladies on there. And not thinking, I just happened to glance over at them. They were trying to go through the elevator. I'm like, okay. So I turned to them and I looked at them. I was like, is there a problem? They were clutching their handbags so hard, like I was trying to rob them. And I asked them, I said, is there a problem? She's like, no problem at all. I said, ma'am, because I'm dark, you think I'm here to rob you, right? She's like, no. And then the other lady said, I told you he wasn't going to do anything to us. As sad as that is. You know, and I'll tell you one thing is, I was more scared of them than they were of me.
That's usually how it goes.
And one other thing is, unfortunately, I happen to work at a particular job where we have a lot of my sisters and brothers there, both of the lighter persuasion and the darker persuasion. Do you know that I experience more trouble with them than I do with the Caucasian people?
Boy,
And we sometimes are our own worst enemies.
we are.
Yes.
Yep.
You know, we will look at a dark skinned brother or dark skinned sister and like, oh, they got kinky hair, or something wrong with them, or they're not as educated as my lighter skinned brothers and sisters. And I say, you know what? When it all comes down to it, when you are with my Caucasian friends and they get mad, they're going to use the N-word with you just as well as they use it with me.
Yeah, I could dig it. Ain't no
Merry
has-
Christmas and Happy Holidays.
All of the above.
Hold on, Larry. Before you run on me, I want to throw something at you. I want to get your opinion before one more comment from you before I let you go. First of all, shout out to our sister Michelle K. Michelle K. is listening to us, so shout out to
Hey,
her.
Michelle.
You know, Larry, I was in social media looking at some stuff, and there was a video that came up. You know those "What Would You Do" videos and stuff.
Yeah.
It was kind of like that. It's old. It's a couple years old. But basically, what it was a little white girl, and she looked like 6, 7, 8 years old. And the ruse that they had was there was a white male who was trying to abduct her, and she was screaming, "You're not my daddy. Leave me alone." And they showed for hours, literally for hours. And they went to different neighborhoods in the same area, and nobody did anything. And they were showing video. I mean, we've seen "What Would You Do" before. We've all seen that before. It wasn't that, but it was like that. And basically, what ends up happening is they getting ready to shut it down for the day, and it's two brothers who were walking by, and they were young brothers who, you know, they look young, and you know how young brothers, you know, often dress. You know, they didn't have the pants on and stuff like that, but they were young brothers. We know what that looks like. And I found myself in this blog because the brother that posted it, I'm just going to read to you what he said, and then I'll read to you what I said. And then I want your comment before we let you go, Larry. But he basically said, this is for all the racist, closed-minded people. Every white person kept walking. It was the hip-hop, thug-looking black dudes who actually did something. That was his comment. Now, my response to that, because it was something in what he said that I picked up on, it really, really bugged me. I basically said that we should be mindful of how we see ourselves. The author of this post referred to the brothers as hip-hop thug licking, and that's how we see ourselves and refer to ourselves. Our enemies will pick up on that and justify their antics.
True.
That's what I said. Larry, I want your opinion on that before we let you go.
You know, and unfortunately, media always portrays us as being, you know, wrong race, wrong color, wrong time. And to further exacerbate that, remember back in the day when O.J. Simpson was on trial for murdering his white wife.
Right.
Before then,
Nicole Brown Simpson.
O.J. Simpson, right. O.J. Simpson would be on the cover of Time magazine, big smile, you know, everybody loved him. His skin tone was a lot lighter. When he was convicted, his skin tone was a lot darker.
Yes, it was.
And I said, you know, it don't make any sense. Anytime there's trouble or anything else, your skin tone is always brought down to a darker level. I preface that because I showed my kids and grandkids that. And they were like, wow, we didn't know that O.J. Simpson was that dark. I showed them another picture, and I was like, wait a minute. He looks happier being lighter.
Right.
So the media and everything always presents us as being the darker you are, the more evil you are.
Right.
The darker you are, or how kinky your hair is, they think you're uneducated.
Right.
And that's the sad thing about it is, and so far, unfortunately, we sometimes feed into that.
Right.
And that's why I say, you know, the darker you are, the more educated you should be, and how you should present yourself even better than what the media thinks you are. So, you know, that's why I always say, when people speak to me and they don't see me, I've heard on many occasions, unfortunately, my own family members, when I call them on the phone, they tell me, this white guy just called me. I said, no, unfortunately, and that was me that called. You know,
yeah.
I tend to, when I'm speaking to someone, I try to speak, as they say, the King's English, and I can speak in both realms. But you know what? As dark as I am, I can truly say I am truly educated too.
No, you're a smart guy. And, you know, Larry, you and I go back a long way. And,
we've had many deep conversations.
Yes,
That's why
we
I thoroughly
have.
enjoy the show.
Yeah.
And I push this show, and I say, hey, on Mondays, y'all do nothing. Let me take that back. Yo, brothers, y'all need to listen to this show.
We appreciate it, man. We got a lot of love for you, Larry. Thanks for checking us out, man. Thanks for supporting us.
Thanks, yeah. Both of y'all have a happy holiday. All of y'all have a happy holiday.
You as
You
well.
too, brother.
You as well, man. Take it easy. Ain't no half stepping. With Marcus J. live from the den. Legacy Internet Radio, 804-402-2893 is the number to dial to be a part of tonight's discussion. We are going to take our first break, and when we come back, Mr. 3375. He got some questions that he's going to ask. You know, I always like to tease it. Don't give him too much, man. Just give him a little bit. Just give me a little bit of tease. What are we going to do, man?
We're going to do a little relationship scenarios. I have some questions that some people has hit me up with.
I don't know.
And let's see if we can help them out a little bit.
I'm a mess, so I don't know what the hell I'm going to do for him. But we'll try. Ain't no hashtag with Marcus J. live from the den. Legacy Internet Radio. We're going to take a break. When we come back, after we hear from our brother Bobby Brown, we're going to hear from Mr. 3375. Stay with us.
Holistic care for the mind, body, and spirit. Free Spirit Enterprises, LLC, is a parent company for Organic Creations, Jewelry by Design, Miller Publishing, and Consultation Services. Organic Creations offers you the best in natural, homemade skin and hair care products. Jewelry by Design allows you, the customer, to design your own jewelry, as it is custom made just for you. Thinking of self-publishing a book or novel? Check out Miller Publishing and Consultation Services. Free Spirit Enterprises is where holistic care meets mind, body, and spirit. Visit us at freespiritenterprisesco.biz. That's Freespiritenterprisesco.biz. Or you can call 804-252-6562. Like us on Facebook under Free Spirit Enterprises, LLC.